Welcome to episode 4 of Snyder's, that's me, Music Biz News. Can you name the most expensive record ever sold? It was this record by Wu-Tang Clan, named Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, I think is how you say the name. I'm not real sure, but hopefully that's close. On a chilly evening in March at the Museum of Modern Art's PS1 Annex in New York, several dozen potential buyers and writers turned in their cell phones, their tablets, their laptops, and anything else with recording capability. They were ushered into a dimly lit domed room for an event billed as the first and only time that a portion of Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, the record, would be heard in public. The box itself was displayed on a pedestal with armed guards standing close by to protect it. The crowd listened for about 13 minutes to an excerpt of the full album, played at eardrum rattling volume, and they cheered when it was done. Only one copy of this record was ever created. Everything was in this box, so whoever owned it would have the only copy ever produced in human history. Initially, the band, Wu-Tang, wanted to forbid the buyer from publicly releasing the album for 88 years. But over time, they decided to grant the buyer total freedom, as long as the album wasn't sold commercially. In other words, the owner could listen to the record in a soundproof room, or drive a pickup truck over it, or release it for free on the internet, or just keep it to him or herself to listen to on their own. So the album was sold for $2 million. Who bought it? Remember this guy? Pharma Bro. Martin Shkreli, I think that's how you say his name. He purchased it for $2 million. Now, you might remember this guy because he owned a pharmaceutical company and had bought the drug Daraprium, which was used to treat parasites like malaria. And the original price of a pill was $13. He jacked it up 5,000% to $750 a tablet. So all of this was happening while he bought the record. And he was busted and went to court and was convicted of security fraud and a bunch of other offenses. While he was convicted, and he hadn't been fined yet, he tried to sell the record himself, but failed to do so, and he was sentenced to 7 years and over $70 million in fines. Now, he hadn't listened to the record, at least when this initial article was written. He wrote that he was saving that for a time when he was feeling low and needed something to lift his spirits. He said, "I could be convinced to listen to it earlier if Taylor Swift wants to hear it," or something like that. So if T Swiftie wanted to listen to it with Pharma Bro, she could have. I don't know if she ever did. But for now, I think I'm going to kind of save it for a rainy day. Well, his rainy day came, and he got thrown in jail. And part of the fines was he had to hand over to the United States government his copy of this record as part of the fines. And so the United States government has since, in 2021, they sold the album for $4 million to a crypto collective. In 2022, Pharma Bro was released from prison. He got off a little early because of good behavior. And just this month has been ordered back to court because when he handed over the copies of the record to the U.S. government, he had swore that it was the only copies available. But now, amid a lawsuit claiming he might leak copies of the record, a federal judge ruled that the Pharma exec must personally go to court and testify under oath about the fate of the album. He actually admitted that it was highly likely that other people had copies as well. He just couldn't remember who. So if you're out there and you have a copy of this record, well, I don't know what would happen, but congratulations. But apparently, as of even now, this story continues. The next story is about Tidal. Some of you might subscribe to Tidal. You might remember that it made a pretty big splash in 2015 because it offered high-definition audio of songs that it was going to stream. You got to remember at that time, you had mostly MP3 type files, so the quality of the audio was had been really crunched down to bad quality in a sense. So the idea of Tidal was that you would listen to it in a pristine type of audio file, high def, as compared to low def. Jay-Z is very, very famous for having purchased, being an owner of the company. He paid around $56 million for it in the name of preserving quality music for musicians. In 2017, Sprint bought 33% of it for $200 million. And the owner of Square, you might remember Square was the way you could use your credit card at a flea market or anywhere else. The owner bought the majority share for $297 million. So Jay-Z turned $56 million into over $500 million. Not too bad for Jay-Z preserving high quality audio for the sake of good music. Tidal is not doing so well. In December of 2023, about 10% of its payroll was cut. How many people does it really take to operate one of the most popular high-res capable music streaming platforms? According to Jack Dorsey, the CEO, as few as humanly possible. A second mass layoff is coming in less than 12 months, and there's speculation from within the company that the latest round of layoffs might include as many as 100 employees. That would be about 25% of the workforce. So Tidal does not appear to be in really good shape. And according to an internal memo obtained by Fortune, Tidal owner Block planning significant job reduction so that Tidal can operate like a startup again. So we'll have to wait and see if Tidal is on the way in or if the Tidal is on the way out. Sorry, lousy pun. You can expect there to be more and more news about AI. And why do I say that? Well, companies Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft will likely spend over $200 billion this year, with little relief planned for 2025. Data centers are materializing, power agreements are rising, acquisitions are accelerating. Amazon, Microsoft, and Google just in the last quarter spent over $50 billion mostly buying property and equipment in preparation for the support and expansion of AI. So, what's that got to do with us in the music industry? Well, some of you might remember Napster. Remember those days? And MP3 files. And how the record labels tried to stop the technology by suing Napster and other file sharing sites like mp3.com, and even suing young kids like 13 years old for sharing MP3 song files because it was copyright infringement. And but they thought they could just sue it out of existence, and we can see how that all worked out for them. Well, this time they learned their lesson, and they are basically buying it all up as much as they can. They are in front of this. A pioneering commercial ethical foundational model for AI-generated music that works in collaboration with the music industry and its creators. That was a description of Universal Music Group partnering with AI music company KLAY, I assume pronounced Clay. Clay is positioning itself to become the backbone for a new era of innovation committed to the premise that AI can bolster and grow musical creativity and human artistry. The partner said during the press release they called Clay an ethical AI music company. And it's sort of weird when you have to describe your company as being ethical. But it does show that there's a lot of distrust of AI. So they have to put into their announcements, hey, we're the good guys. We're not the bad guys. So, don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. They also said the company is currently in stealth, but plans to launch in the coming months with a product that will revolutionize the way people think about music. Well, it's about time. The old way of listening to music, just over it. Presenting a new intuitive musical experience. Clay is committed to serving artists and songwriters and those who support them, including music publishers, record labels, distributors, other rights holders across the major and indie label landscape, including accurate attribution. Now, that means that they're going to give credit where credit is due as far as copyright goes. So again, AI, as you know, pulls thousands of little bits of data from existing material that's on the internet that is copyrighted, it's owned by somebody, and then mashing it together to create new music. Well, they're saying that they will attribute all of those little pieces to whoever owns them and pay them, which if you're a bunch of zeros and ones, probably is not going to amount to much. But anyway, we will not compete with artist catalogs in traditional music services. So are there non-traditional music services coming up? When asked if this partnership included licensing of UMG's publishing and recorded music catalog, Clay declined to comment. In other words, will Clay only pull all this data from within the bowels, if you will, of Universal Music Group's? This isn't the only company that Universal is with. Universal has been partnering with new companies, AI companies, committed to respecting and helping to maximize the commercial money, impact, and reach that responsibly trained AI can bring to artists. And remember the last episode, my last episode where I talked about Timbaland was using AI to compose new music with this company Suno. Well, Universal Music Group really hasn't changed. They're still in the suing game. The lawyers still are getting paid. Good for them. It's hard for me to dig totally into what's going on here. Will there be a part of Universal Music Group that is all AI-generated new music where they don't have to pay anybody? They can own the music outright, or they pay the guys who are creating the prompts. It just sounds weird to me. I have no idea what's going on, but it's something to keep an eye on. And this is just Universal Music Group. So what everybody else is planning, who knows? Stay tuned. The next article has to do with all of you who have music or listen to music on TikTok. How many of you have ever heard of this company, Merlin? It represents record labels and distributors and rights holders worldwide. They represent 15% of the global recorded music digital distribution market. Over 30,000 record labels, independent and majors. And this includes Distrokid and CD Baby and Curb Records and Sub Pop. But if you're distributing your music through Distrokid, well, I've got some bad news for you. October 31st was the expiration date for hundreds of licensing deals for independent distributors and labels, including Distrokid. The music's being taken down off of TikTok. TikTok says, we shut down Merlin over fears about streaming fraud. Okay, so what is an example of streaming fraud? The U.S. government charged an individual with 3 felony counts in connection with an alleged $10 million scheme to create hundreds of thousands of songs with artificial intelligence and use automated programs called bots to stream AI-generated songs billions of times. So yes, I would say that that sort of implies that there's some bad stuff going on with the streams. In particular, TikTok discontinued its relationship with Merlin for these kind of anomalies. In particular, sources suggested that the illegitimate behavior from Merlin members that concerned TikTok mainly involved deliberate uploading of manipulated, sped up and slowed down versions of copyrighted audio. So all of you who might have music on TikTok, through DistroKid or CD Baby or independently or whatever, I have linked in my comments below the URLs to all of the articles that I referred to, and also there's a couple of links in there to alternative places that you can replace TikTok with as far as getting your music back up. Okay, so you rec tech gearheads, here is your chance to own the most famous recording studio in the world. All you need to do is buy this console. Anybody who gets this console, it'll be the most famous studio in the world. The legendary mixing desk used on the Beatles' Abbey Road is going up for sale. It was used to record a whole bunch of great records, including Abbey Road. George Harrison asked if he could buy his own, and they said no, because they were worried that the console would be replicated and sold to competitors. One copy. That's it. Surprised Wu-Tang didn't own this console. So the EMI TG12345 Mark I is available in auction. So go buy it and invite me over. I want to play with it. See if I can sound like Paul McCartney. I can't. So now it's time for Jonesy's cat shit crazy pick. Listen to me. It's not Christmas yet. It's not even close to Thanksgiving. Halloween was just last weekend, like yesterday, a couple days ago. But did you know now that Halloween, not Thanksgiving, Halloween is the official kickoff for the Christmas season, according to Mariah Carey? Well, that's right. She has announced that it is officially the Christmas season with her song. Amazon even announced an exclusive collaboration with her on her brand new Christmas Time by Mariah Carey. Holiday decor and tour merch collections to celebrate the 30-year anniversary of her hit song. We've been listening to this song every Christmas for 30 years. So, how much do you think that she makes? According to Billboard, about in 2022. The master recording version of the song brought in more than $5.3 million. The publishing royalties generated $3.2 million. And combined, that's over $8.5 million for Mariah, her co-writer, the publishers, Sony, the record label, and everybody else who gets a piece of this every year. It's called an evergreen because it never goes away. It's infinite. And 30 years from now will be the 60-year anniversary of all of us listening to this song. So, to all of you out there, Merry Christmas. Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe and share and do all those other things if you like my episodes. Take care. Bye.